Hello and welcome to our video, 10 informations you need to know about yesterday. In this video, we'll be covering some of the most important events that took place yesterday, giving you a quick summary of each one. Johnson's future, in the balance. According to Chris Mason, the BBC's political editor, Boris Johnson's political career is on uncertain ground following his testimony to MPs on the Downing Street party scandal. The Times reported that the former PM's evidence was criticised as flimsy, and that he may have violated his own pandemic regulations during a tense 3.5-hour hearing. Johnson maintained that he followed COVID guidelines to the best of his understanding. Rates rise expected at noon. At noon today, the Bank of England is anticipated to raise interest rates for the 11th consecutive time. Despite doubts surrounding another hike, analysts predict that the recent inflation surge will result in an increase from 4% to 4.25% at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting. The US Federal Reserve has already increased its main rate by 0.25% and stated that further increases will not occur. Sunak releases tax details. After a prolonged delay, Rishi Sunak has released details of his tax returns. The Telegraph revealed that the Chancellor earned nearly £4.8 million over 3 years but only paid an effective tax rate of 22%. The bulk of his income reportedly came from a single US-based investment fund held in a blind trust, earning capital gains, dividends, and interest. The Times noted that Sunak had promised to release his tax returns during his unsuccessful campaign to become Tory leader last year but only made them available yesterday when the media was focused on Boris Johnson. Trump. Arrest could be fun. Former US President Donald Trump has reportedly told friends that being arrested could be a fun experience for him. According to the New York Times, Trump is relishing the idea of a perp walk, and plans to turn his potential arrest into a spectacle to energize his base. A source revealed that Trump wants to be defiant and show that if they can try to do this to him, they can do it to anyone. Trump's expected indictment was delayed this week. RMT calls off strikes. The RMT union has called off all upcoming train strikes, indicating that the long-standing industrial dispute could soon be resolved. The union's members at Network Rail, which includes signal workers and maintenance staff, voted on Monday to accept a pay offer representing a 9% pay increase. While negotiations are ongoing for thousands of workers across 14 train operating companies, the union has cancelled strike action scheduled for March 30th and April 1st Street. Macron admits pensions regret. French President Emmanuel Macron has admitted that he failed to convince the French public of the need to reform their pension system. During a lunchtime television interview, he said, "If there is something that I regret, it's that we didn't manage to convey the constraints, or more exactly, the necessity of this reform." Despite mass protests and strikes, Macron reiterated that the unpopular measure to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64 will come into effect this year. New dieselgate warning. International Council on Clean Transportation, ICCT, warns of continued high levels of toxic air pollution from millions of diesel cars in Europe and the UK. Even after 7 years since the dieselgate scandal broke, the non-profit research group states that around 13 million highly polluting diesel vehicles sold between 2009 and 2019 remain on the roads, with a further 6 million diesels having suspicious emissions levels. Castration suspects in court. A man accused of carrying out castrations and streaming footage on his website, Marius Gustafsson, appeared in court. The 45-year-old is said to have performed extreme body modifications, including the removal of penises and testicles. Gustafsson is the alleged ringleader of a group of 9 men who appeared in court in London and Wales yesterday. They are accused of running the alleged 6-year plot, which is said to have brought in some £200,000 in income. No one has entered a plea to any of the charges. Anderson reveals GB News payday. Lee Anderson, a Tory MP, has revealed that he will be paid £100,000 per year for hosting a show on GB News. Anderson became the 5th Tory MP to host a show on GB News, which he described as the People's Channel. This amount is a significant increase on the £200 weekly payment he received for appearing as a regular on Dan Wootton's show. The disclosure was made in an update to the MP's Register of Interests. Sniffing annoys 1 in 5. A recent study by King's College London and the University of Oxford found that 20% of Britons find chewing, sniffing, and noisy breathing irritating. The study also revealed that 18.4% of the UK population suffers from misophonia. a psychological disorder that triggers a fight or flight response to common sounds heard in everyday life. Dr. Jane Gregory, a clinical psychologist at the University of Oxford, explained that the experience of misophonia goes beyond being annoyed by a sound.